Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for the weekly SmackDown Event Center report. And now here's the man that will bring you the happenings on WWE SmackDown every Friday night, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977, episode number 2518. Like I said on the previous episode, I made some episode number changes, and you'll notice that. The Card Sharks Money Cards video will be tomorrow. Also, it'll be at 2519. And I did the video early on. If you hear me say 2518, don't worry about it. I've already warned you guys ahead of time what number it will be. So don't worry about a thing. So we got to talk about SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure it's all over the internet just about now. A lot of people have been talking about it, whether or not it's happening, it's going to happen, and all that. You had a feeling, you had an inkling. I even told every YouTube renegades, you better freaking tune the SmackDown now, and they know why, and my man Chayton knows why. He was not dumb enough to find. He was not stupid. He knew. I was like, he was not stupid. I said, oh, I got to find you. So, yep. Everybody knows now. Everybody in the YouTube renegades, you guys know. It ain't no joke. But we'll get to that. John Cena, John Cena has decided to make his last run in Chicago, and the people appreciate John Cena over there in Chicago. And then, as he was about to say, he says thank you and all that, Sami Zayn shows up, interrupts him, and he was about to celebrate his his thoughts on being the new United States champion. He said, "Hey, it's because you did a lot for me, and I want to pay it forward. I want to pay it back. I want to do what you did, the U.S. Open Challenge, in your honor, if you give me permission." And then all of a sudden, and John Cena goes, "You know what? Go right ahead. I like this. You're a fighting champion." And he says, "Wait a minute, Cena. I want to pay you forward, pay you back. I want you to be my first opponent in the Open Challenge. So I'm challenging you for my United States title here in Chicago tonight." Everybody went nuts. They said, yes. And John Cena goes, "You know what? You got it. Let's get a rep down here." They went at it. So they went at it. Heck of a matchup. This was a heck of a matchup. Fans were booing Sami Zayn, which I was kind of shocked at. But, I think at the same time they try. I don't know if they want Cena to win or what, and but Sami Zayn showed. Listen, when Sami Zayn made his debut 10 years ago against John Cena for the same title, but now Sami Zayn and Cena went at it. It was a heck of a matchup. It was a respectful matchup, and they were both out cold. Until the referee was the only one standing until Brock Lesnar shown up. I'm like, good Lord, we're in trouble here. Brock Lesnar showed up. He F5 Sami Zayn and F5's John Cena, throwing the match out. No contest. He first yanked the referee out to make sure a decision does not go down. But however, Brock Lesnar F5 both men, but then F5 Cena twice. What does that tell you? I said, those two are going to go down the road. Then they went to commercial break. They saw what happened. Excuse me. Brock Lesnar went into the gorilla position, and he walked out and said, "Cena, you and me, WrestlePalooza." And he calls him the B word. Like you think he's Kazuchika Okada or somebody. Cheapest. So, and that match has been made official. Another match made for WrestlePalooza. First, we had Io Sky, Stephanie McMahon for the vacant women's world title. But then you got John Cena, Lesnar, one last time at WrestlePalooza. That's going to be a heck of a matchup. And then Carmelo Hayes was talking to Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis has been running around. You know, because I think Nick Aldis was freaking out about what Brock Lesnar did. He said, listen, I don't have time to talk. I said, let me, Sami Zayn's issued a challenge. Let me answer it. And then The Miz cuts him off and said, hey, we want a shot at the tag team titles. And then he goes, I'll take this in consideration. I don't have time. So he's freaking out about Brock Lesnar already. Here comes, and then Carmelo Hayes says, what? Listen, I said, dude, I'm trying to get my shot for me. For us. And I think Miz is being, selfish for himself. I don't know. Anyways. But then the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch, arrives in Chicago. We know CM Punk's already there. I said, oh boy, this is going to be fun. And I did have a theory about this whole thing. You see my return on Rant and Rave last night. My theory is who CM Punk's going to call on. Because everybody thought, could be one. I'd say it would be one of three people. One would have been Rhea Ripley, but Rhea Ripley. One person wants to see Ripley and Lynch go at it one more time. Then you got Mickey James, who had a history with CM Punk, and Jordan answered my question how the two were connected. The Gathering by Raven. So I thought, but it's in Chicago, so anything's possible. So Damian Priest and Aleister Black, they beat the crap out of each other before the matchup. Referees and security and officials tried to separate them, but Damian Priest said, screw it, I'm going after him. And they had the matchup. Aleister Black hit him with a couple of black masses. 1, 2, 3, Black wins. So, Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre are promoting each other, and next week on SmackDown, they're going to go at it, one-on-one. Be a heck of a deal. And then, also, next week, the WWE Women's Undisputed Championship will be online. Tiffany Stratton to defend against Jade Cargill. And Captain Kelly interviewed the champ, Tiffany Stratton, and she says, well, it's all said and done, I'm going to stick my boot up her eye of the storm, which I thought that's clever. And then she says that it'll be still Tiffy time when all is said and done. Jade Cargill was watching all those things, says, you believe that? And then all of a sudden, Nia Jax, I don't know why I ain't taking a title shot. He said, well, I'll tell you what, once I beat her, you can be next in line. Otherwise, get out of my way. We'll see about that. And she goes, bet. Well, I forgot a feeling that Nia Jax is going to get in a situation matchup. Yeah. Really? Anyways. And so, Becky Lynch is sitting in the office, in the lounge room, and Nick Aldis says, hey, I don't want any problems today. Don't worry, me, and all that. And she's trying to suck up to Nick Aldis. You can't trust Becky Lynch. So, and then the Chicago Bulls' Kobe White is in attendance for SmackDown, and then they had the Women's United States title, second United States title matches. This is probably the first SmackDown where both United States titles were on the line, I think, or not. But Julia defends against Michin, and during the match of Kiana James, her business partner, got involved, and Julia ended up retaining her championship. We want Charlotte Flair's leg is in the cast, and she's crying about whether or not she have a moment. And you're going to be fine. Lily will keep you company. Power of friendship, and walks away. Alexa Bliss. So, and then Seth Rollins arrives on SmackDown. I said, "Sheepish, does Nick Aldis need any more problems? You got the world champion down, and what's he going to do? What's he going to do?" And he's sitting like in the stands in the skybox, and hey, I'm going to introduce you to my hot, sexy, intelligent wife, the Women's Intercontinental Champion, Becky Lynch. And then Becky Lynch comes out and basically said, all your teams suck. She said, your Black Hawks suck. Your Chicago Cubs suck. Hey, Becky, the Chicago Cubs recently won the World Series. Yeah, what 9 years ago? They broke their curse. And you said the Chicago White Sox suck? Yeah, that's the only, that they only suck. I'll agree with you on that. And then he said, the Bulls suck, and he yells at Kobe White, I hope you get traded. Well, I hope you can be so bad so bad you would be traded. I'm like, oh boy, Becky, what do you... At first, you get the Ozzy Osbourne comments. Then you want to inciting Birmingham. And then you want to incite the Chicago crowd. Becky, you're a crazy woman. Which brings me to this interesting situation. CM Punk interrupts Becky Lynch, and CM Punk goes, we're getting sick and tired. He goes, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? She starts slapping CM Punk around, rubbing her head against his chest. I'm like, what the heck is she trying to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And then he walks away. He goes, this is the type of situation I want to avoid. You see, I'm a gentleman. I never hit a lady. But, he says, you think I was going to call an Eradicator Ripley? And everybody's like, no. And all of a sudden, so CM Punk walks out of the ring after Becky Lynch slaps him a few times. You see, this is a situation I want to avoid. But, however, I'm not one to hit a lady, but I know someone who will. And I was like, and who could that be? Let's light it up, light it up, light up. When I heard that theme song, I'm like, no shot. It cannot be. It is, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Lee is officially back in the WWE after 10 long years, over 3,800 days. Ladies and gentlemen, AJ Lee is back. Becky Lynch had a look of fear and shock on her face. Seth Rollins was like, no way. And guess what? She came out in her t-shirt and her jean shorts, skipping around the ring, giving Becky that old crazy woman look, and basically she went in the ring and attacked Becky Lynch. And you know what? People in Chicago went completely bonkers and insane in the membrane. And ladies, and CM Punk had this big smile on his face. And then after Becky Lynch gets thrown out of the ring and all that, Seth Rollins goes over to her and says, you okay, babe? And then AJ Lee leapt into the arms of her husband, and they kissed, and people went totally nuts. That's right. AJ Lee is back in the WWE. Make your fantasy bookings now, boys and girls, because this is going to be something. Imagine AJ Lee versus Kairi Sane, or AJ Lee versus Io Sky, or AJ Lee versus Asuka. I can go on. AJ Lee versus Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez refers to AJ Lee as mother. I'll tell you one thing. AJ Lee, Roxanne Perez, I'll sign up for that matchup. When Liv Morgan comes back to be Battle of Jersey Girls, AJ Lee versus Morgan, and when she comes back. Let me tell you something, guys. I could not believe this myself. It was insane. It was crazy to see AJ Lee back in the WWE. Welcome back, AJ Lee. We missed you. And believe me, and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, you two are in trouble now. Let's light it up, baby. Boom, bullseye. Whoop. That's how we do this. So, that's all the time we have on the show. Like I said, tomorrow we got Card Sharks and Collision, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you guys later. You guys have a great, wonderful, blessed day. And until the next episode, you have a great and wonderful, blessed night, I should say. You'll see the Card Sharks video tomorrow morning while I head with my parents to Connecticut to visit my sister to celebrate my niece's birthday. We'll be having a lot of fun there. So, I'll see y'all later. Guys, have a wonderful, like I said, another wonderful, blessed night. Until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.